Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. I was just making a point there. I was looking at the dark side of the ring, and I was talking about Dr. D. David Schultz when he had the incident with John Stossel,
Yeah.
actually back in the day, and the thing was,
Well, for people who don't know that, what exactly happened?
well, John Stossel, actually a reporter back in the day, very well-known reporter, was doing an expose on professional wrestling, and as far as wrestling being real or fake, of course he thought and knew it was fake, and he wanted to talk to some of the insiders about wrestling and ask them the actual question: is wrestling fake? And the person that he was talking to was David Schultz, who was a WWF wrestler back in the day. And David Schultz took this thing for real, man. I mean, it was real to him as far as going out there and making those people feel that raw emotion when they watched him perform. He was the bad guy, and John Stossel, point blank said, "Well, I think it's fake." Bang, hit John Stossel. Fast forward, it was the end of his career, but he was the guy that went out there and tried to portray this thing to a point to where, there again, if you go to on Broadway and watch Shakespeare, you want it to be as real as you possibly can see it. I mean, you want to feel that moment, and that's what wrestlers did back in the day. And I think that's what AEW kind of like made the fans feel a little bit, somewhat. And I say that because of the Chris Jericho match. After that loss, Chris Jericho put out a tweet, and the tweet was, "I got a lot of soul searching to do after that loss last night." And that right there is in the context of what we're talking about with social media and using social media to still further our angles and make people feel like they're watching All My Children. General Hospital. I can imagine if General Hospital spoilers were out, All My Children, the spoilers were out, the day before this. Can you imagine that those shows wouldn't be on television today? But to be able to use social media properly, man, it works. It works, and it works to the utmost. So I say there again, young people that's in this business, that's watching guys like the Nick Gage. You can learn from those guys because keeping it real, that ain't far gone out of the picture of what we're doing. I don't think so. I think people still want to have that emotional feeling and leave the arena going, man, that made me feel a certain way, opposed to feeling the opposite.
Yeah, having a feeling walking away from it, other than when you see a movie and someone goes, "How was it?" You say, "Oh, that's all right." Right? It means you didn't hate it, but you didn't love it. But if you can walk away from that show or that movie, you say, "God, it was awesome."
Exactly.
Oh my God, it was incredible.
Yeah.
And make the people believe. I think that's more to your point of making them believe. I think that one of the guys, and this might be it for a shoot, I don't know, but one of the guys who I feel like is the most believable in the last 5-10 years in wrestling is Brock Lesnar.
Oh yeah, man.
I don't know if Brock really hates everybody, if that's for real or that's his character. But I will say, I've been back there on a few separate occasions where Brock is walking through the locker room and people don't say anything to him. You know what I mean?
Well, the last social media thing I saw with Brock Lesnar, he was cutting up a pig.
And he's got a ponytail or something, right?
Yeah, and I'm like, that's not something I want to be experiencing. And I mean, I'm talking about, killed it, gutted it, cut it up, and put that son of a gun in the freezer. Okay, that ain't my. I'm just gonna go to the grocery store and pick up the fine parts. Okay. I ain't got to go kill the beast and then cut him up. See, but that's the type of guy Brock Lesnar is. He's real. He's raw dog. And nothing but respect for those guys who know how to keep it real and use that social media thing properly to still keep what they're doing as far as their livelihood. More importantly than anything, the livelihood, making sure that's intact. Hey, man, I appreciate those guys.
And, it's the reason why guys like Jericho and Brock have always been box office, because they understand that aspect of the business. Let me ask you this. When you were coming up, like in the global days and things of that nature, were you ever instructed to quote unquote protect the business if somebody came out there and said something? Because I remember reading something about Bill Watts to where if somebody came up to you and said, "Good show tonight," he instructed you to punch them in the mouth, right? If somebody tried you, he said, you better fight them back and you better win or don't come back to work next week. Was it ever like that when you were starting out?
Well, for me, the door was pretty much open.
Mhm.
When I got into the business, as far as people knowing exactly what it was, but I just still tried to toe the line properly. When I was a heel, I wasn't out there, kissing babies and shaking hands with everybody, but I wasn't like the most rudest person in the world, but I knew I had to protect my image. You didn't find me leaving the building with the guy that I work with or anything like that ever. I was talking about Jody Hamilton Sr. when we were at Disney doing the Disney tapings in the morning, and I just happened to be talking to my opponent. Could have been Too Cold Scorpio or somebody, and in Disney, it was free show, fans walking by. Jody Hamilton, for God's sake, kayfabe. Okay, man. Okay, you know what I mean. So it's always been a rule to try to protect the business as much as you possibly can, and I believe that still today. I could be buddies with just like, say, for instance, at Reality Wrestling, you got two guys during the main event. Even if they're going to go to the bar, hey, I'll meet you over there. We ain't gonna ride together. We just happen to bump into each other, and all fair and love and war. I can accept that. You know what I mean? I'm sure MMA fighters may see each other later on after a fight and go, "Hey, man, what's going on? Hey, you want to have a drink?" Hey, I could take that. But if I saw those two guys get in the car together and leave, we got a problem. So I say, just know how to protect the business, because the business is your livelihood, and in your livelihood is how you make money and make sure those little things that come in the mailbox, those notes, those bills, they can be taken care of.